Question 13. So we've got here, figure 2 shows a sketch of part of a curve. The line L is the normal to see at the point PEE, so here. The region R shown in figure 2 is bounded by the curve C, the line L on the x-axis, and we've got to find the exact area of R. So if we split R into two different shapes by drawing a line down here, we know that that x-coordinate is E. So we've got a triangle to the right, and then we've got an area under the curve to the left. So if we first of all look at finding the area of the triangle, what we need to know is we need to know the point at which that line crosses the x-axis. The reason for that is that we already know that coordinate is E, so from 0 up to E, that height is E, but we don't know what this length along the bottom is. So if we differentiate our curve C, we can find the gradient, and we know that L is perpendicular, so we can use negative reciprocal. So if y is equal to x ln x, we have to use the product rule, so we've got two things being multiplied together. U is equal to x, so u dash is 1. V is equal to ln x, so v dash is 1 over x. So dy dx is equal to u dash v, 1 lot of ln x, add v dash u, x times 1 over x, which is just 1. So at the point here, P, we know that x is equal to E, so x is equal to E, dy dx is equal to ln E, which is 1, add 1, which is 2. And so therefore the gradient of L, the perpendicular, is going to be the negative reciprocal. And we know it passes through the point P, which is EE. That means that the equation for L is going to be y minus the y coordinate is equal to minus a half for the gradient x, take away the x coordinate. Simplifying this, we've got y is equal to minus x over 2 plus a half e plus 1e, so we've got plus 3e over 2. That's our equation. We want to find this coordinate here, which is when y is equal to 0. So therefore we've got x over 2 is equal to 3e over 2, and x is equal to 3e. Now if x is equal to 3e here, we know that the difference between e and 3e must be 2e. And so the area of that triangle, the height is e, the length is 2e, so the area must be equal to a half times the base times the height, which is just e squared. So what we can then do is we found that the area of that triangle is e squared, and we now need to find the area underneath the curve here. So we need to find the point at which it crosses the x-axis. We already know that the curve crosses at 0, but if we've got the curve of y is equal to x ln x, so x ln x is equal to 0, one solution is obviously where x is equal to 0, the other is where ln x is equal to 0, and that is when x is equal to 1. So that coordinate must be 1. So we're integrating x ln x between e and 1. So we're integrating x ln x between e and 1 with respect to x. Two things being multiplied together, so we have to use parts. So our formula for parts is uv dash, the integral of that, is equal to uv, take away the integral of u dash v dx. So here, u is always our easier part, so u is equal to, well, unless we've got a ln x, in which case that has to be u, so u is ln x, u dash is 1 over x, v dash therefore is x, and so v is the integral of that, x squared over 2. So now we're integrating, so we put it into a formula. uv is going to be x squared over 2 ln x, take away the integral of u dash v, so that's 1 over x times x squared over 2, which leaves us with the integral of x over 2 dx. So this is x squared over 2 ln x minus the integral of x over 2 is going to be x squared over 4. And so we're between e and 1. So from here we sub e in, and we're going to have x is equal to e, and so we're going to have e squared over 2 times ln e, which is just 1, take away e squared over 4, minus when x is equal to 1, and so we're going to have when x is equal to 1, ln x is 0, so that 0 is that entire part there, and we've got minus a quarter on the other part. So we've got a half e minus a quarter e, so we're going to end up with e squared over 4, add a quarter for that part. So overall, r is going to be equal to e squared add e squared over 4 add a quarter. And so r is equal to 5e squared over 4 add a quarter. So a is 5 over 4 and b is 1 over 4.